It's a whole new episode.
This is Good Morning Liberty.
Hey, what's up, all of our liberty-loving friends? This is another fantastic episode of Good Morning Liberty. My name is Nate Thurston. Across from me is Mr. Charles Chuck Thompson. We are going to get going ahead with the rest of Dumb Bleep of the week. If you listened to yesterday's episode, you know we're just continuing on right now with Dumb Bleep number 8. If you didn't listen to yesterday's episode, you should. It was a banger. It was so good. Yeah. It was the best episode we did yesterday.
And you'd be confused because we're starting on number 8.
Yeah, we're on number 8. Right now,
16.
The first 7, but these will be faster. This is just a small story that somehow didn't make it into my news feed whatsoever. Like, it seems as if they found actual evidence that Pfizer intentionally delayed releasing information about the new vaccine in 2020 until after the election, which
no way.
Yeah.
This can't be real.
Which is something that, of course, we all speculated was the case at that time. Isn't it so weird? I believe it was 2 weeks after the election that they were like, oh, yeah, we got a vaccine and everything's going to go back to normal soon. Imagine if that had been released like a month before the election instead of 2 weeks after the election. Isn't that weird? So Dumb Bleep number 8 is this release here from the House Judiciary GOP. Let me get to the beginning here of this. March 26, 2025, Wall Street Journal reported that authorities were in possession of information that originated from a former senior Pfizer executive related to whether Pfizer, quote, sat on the positive results of clinical trials of its COVID-19 vaccine so as to influence the 2020 presidential election. The journal identified Dr. Philip Dormitzer as the former Pfizer executive and reported that he disclosed this information to his then current employer, GSK, in the late 2024 following President Trump's election. So he disclosed this in 2024 after that election. In response to these allegations, on April 9th, the committee wrote to GSK requesting further information about these allegations. GSK responded on April 16th, 2025, in its letter to the committee. GSK stated, in November 2024, shortly after the election, Dr. Dormitzer approached a representative from GSK Human Resources team to speak about the potential relocation abroad. This is after the most recent election. This doctor wanted to be relocated to another country. As the Human Resources representative recalls, in their meeting, Dr. Dormitzer was visibly upset. He requested that he be relocated to Canada due to concerns that he could be investigated by the incoming Trump administration over his role in developing Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine. According to the Human Resources representative, when asked what prompted his request, let me get to that part. Oh, crap. Did I not get the rest of it? Dr. Dormitzer said something important. I'm sure it was something very, very important. Let's see. GSK further informed the committee that Dr. Dormitzer had told GSK employees that in late 2020, the 3 most senior people in Pfizer R&D were involved in a decision to deliberately slow down clinical testing so that it would not be complete prior to the results of the presidential election that year. GSK alleged that Dr. Dormitzer was clear that this was not a situation of delaying disclosure of completed results, but was a situation of slowing down the results before disclosure became necessary.
Interesting.
Isn't that interesting?
Is that election interference?
I mean, I don't know if I don't know how this works out legally. Like, if a private company can be accused of its own internal decision to influence an election and to slow down its own processes. Of course, these processes are so closely intertwined with the government, especially through like Operation Warp Speed and all that kind of stuff. That
we talked about this because what's weird is like Moderna and Pfizer, they all had vaccines within like 3 days of the genome being
and then
released.
They started trials after that.
Yeah, and then we heard nothing.
Yeah.
We heard nothing
until
whatsoever.
2 weeks after the election.
Yeah.
And that's when they're like, oh yeah, we got a vaccine, it works.
And not only does it work, you're forced to take it.
Yeah. And then it turned it was a whole thing.
Yeah.
Just listen to all of our episodes between the election and the election. Which encompass some of the craziest times America has ever had in the history of America. So anyhow, that's number.
Tell you, it's been a weird time to have a podcast.
What a crazy
for these
time!
5-6 years.
We just covered some of the craziest stuff. Okay, this is a little bit older, but there's something so dumb in this that we had to talk about it. Stephen Miller says the White House is looking into suspending habeas corpus, which protects people from unlawful detentions. Here is a clip of him saying that. Let's get to his clip.
Hold on, there's a question back there first.
I have two quick questions. First, President Trump has talked about potentially suspending immigration problems. When could we see that happen, do you think?
Well, the Constitution is clear, and that, of course, is the supreme law of the land, that the privilege of the writ of habeas corpus can be suspended in a time of invasion. So I would say that's an option we're actively looking at. Look, a lot of it depends on whether the courts do the right thing or not. At the end of the day, Congress passed a body of law known as the Immigration and Nationality Act, which stripped Article III courts, that's the judicial branch, of jurisdiction over immigration cases. So Congress actually passed, it's called jurisdiction stripping legislation. It passed a number of laws that say that the Article III courts aren't even allowed to be involved in immigration cases. Many of you probably don't know this. I'll give you a good example.
So that's not that in itself, it should be the idea that our government's going to go so far as suspending habeas corpus. I don't think that's something that any of us should be in favor of at all. Okay.
No. That sounds a little fascist.
It's yeah, I mean they're leaning into their own stereotypes or whatever you want to call it. But honestly, there was something else so dumb about it, and
funny.
And yeah, just funny. And that's that the Lincoln Project says in response to this, suspending habeas corpus. Let that sink in. And most people know why this is so dumb. Okay, it's the Lincoln Project. Who Abraham Lincoln. I've always heard Lincoln was a tyrant. This is one of our problems here. We have this view of Lincoln that he wasn't a tyrant.
Mm-hmm.
I've always heard that. And one of the things that gets listed off is his suspension of habeas corpus.
The first president to do so.
And so you got a business here called the Lincoln Project, aspiring towards some of Lincoln's visions, and you have a problem with our president suspending habeas corpus.
Which is a page out of Lincoln's playbook.
The whole thing just seems to fall apart at that point. It just really seems to fall apart for your argument. So maybe they should sit this one out. That's all I'm saying. Maybe we shouldn't listen to the Lincoln Project.
Not saying they're wrong necessarily.
I mean, they are right, but I mean, you named your project after a guy who's one of the, I think Lincoln and would be FDR. And I don't know if any other presidents have done it. You guys would have to let me know if that's happened elsewhere in the past. And maybe Trump could be the third. We could be wrong on that. There could be more. But I'm saying they should sit this one out. And we should, if they end up suspending habeas corpus, we will be against that. And we will talk about it a lot when that happens, if that happens. So that's those are both dumb things. Here's another one posted by someone in the group. I don't remember who specifically it was. I wanted to cover some more state stuff in this second half of Dumb Bleep. And this is a House member from Texas. They're supposed to vote on all these things. I think it's something like they had 240 bills that needed voted on. And instead, like one of them was decreasing property taxes. And they had a very short amount of time to do it because they put it off, probably because they didn't want to do it. And one of the things they did to delay and stall this voting process was pretty hilarious. We'll just play that.
Hey, howdy, Texans. You're not going to believe what I'm about to show you. So the Texas House of Representatives spent the first 3 months not working, not passing Republican priorities. We still haven't dealt with property taxes. We spent 3 months not working. It's a Saturday. We have 240 bills they're going to pretend to work on today. And on that one day with 240 bills, which we're not going to get to, what are we doing right now? That's right. Mariachi. This is your Texas House, not cutting property taxes, not dealing with Republican priority bills. Check this out.
That sounds pretty good.
No, that sounds great.
I'm sorry, Texas.
The acoustics in that room are great for that kind of thing. We're laughing because it's so blatant.
Yeah.
They're like, we don't want to do this stuff. We don't want to actually have to go on the record to do these things at all.
What can we do? You just think about people planning this. Right. What can we do? We gotta vote. We need ideas. We need ideas. Someone come up with something.
Mariachi band.
Mariachi band. That's it.
That's ridiculous.
That was good. I needed that.
Now, I didn't dig any further, but we do have some people from Texas in here. Did they end up decreasing property taxes? Did they vote to lower property taxes?
We do have some people from Texas right now in the Fed Haters Club.
No, they didn't get to it. They didn't have time. They just didn't have time.
No.
There's just no way.
They probably got an encore from the mariachi band.
They wanted more.
Expecting.
They got some tips, and so they decided to keep playing. Okay, here's a funny video from Defiant L's. This one also came from the group, and so we'll let this speak for itself right fast.
I'm also a part of marginalized groups that have been historically oppressed, and it's like, keep on raising awareness and like slaying. Like, I hope that like we reach more equity soon.
We actually have a equity commitment form. You can actually give up your spot at university for a member of the Tongva tribe. Is this something that you'd be willing to do for this underrepresented, underprivileged community?
Honestly, no, but I hope somebody else does. That's great.
Not currently. I would need to think about it more.
I personally don't view myself as privileged. I don't think I would be willing to give up my spot at UCLA. I think that my ethnicity's representation is also important. I'm a black student.
Who should we find to give up their spot?
And that's a tough question. Anybody that is willing and feels that they're represented in the right way here.
But you know what I mean? I can't make a split-second decision.
I can't.
Their answer that, she wanted to say white people. But hey, she did the last one, good job answering there. Whoever, wants to do it voluntarily. And then there's something so dumb, like who feels like they're being represented. What value do you get as a person who needs a college degree, deciding not to go to college because, it turns out white people are already equally represented at that college. Yeah. And so therefore, I don't need to go to that college.
It would have been better, though, to ask more like white liberals.
Yeah. They would have said white men for sure.
The ones who are, preaching this equality. Well, it's like, okay, give up your spot.
Yeah. No, they're not going to.
They're not going to.
And a great point about this gentleman, this Gen Z gentleman here talking about slaying and whatever. I don't know if I'm just getting old or if slang is just getting
annoying,
dumber. Is it just that we're getting old? I mean, surely our parents thought the same thing about stuff that we said, right? Mm-hmm. And so it's just that we're getting old.
We're getting old.
Yeah, but I do feel like the language is getting dumber. This marginalized person, for whatever the case may be, they made a good point. Like, well, this member of the Tonga tribe, this is definitely way more marginalized and underprivileged even than you are, And so you want to give up your spot for this person who's even more marginalized and underprivileged, and then someone else there was like, well, I don't feel like I'm privileged, I'm underprivileged because of the color of my skin for whatever reason. That was from PragerU, who we are definitely not going to agree with every single thing on, but that was a great job with that video for Bleep number 11. Now we have number 12 from our home state of Illinois.
Did you see this before I saved it?
No, I saw it in the list, yeah. I figured it was you because I hadn't seen it before.
Right.
Go ahead, Charlie.
This is so ridiculous.
From Governor J.B. Pritzker.
All right. He said, I've heard from those in Venice that the lack of affordable grocery options was taking a toll. Today I'm announcing a $2.4 million investment for them to build a new municipally owned grocery store and over $10 million to address food deserts statewide through our grocery initiative. Just like you play, you go to your municipal golf course in the morning, and then you stop by your municipal grocery store.
You ride the municipal bus over there.
Ride the municipal.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just all state owned.
Just
perfect. What could go wrong?
It's so crazy to me that, we found something that J.B. Pritzker is so terrified of, and that's a food desert. And so he just can't stand the idea. He'd rather be a food dessert.
Yeah.
And so there's just no way. But this idea is just so stupid. Like, this idea is just so ridiculous in the first place.
Is he on the fat truck?
It's the fat shot truck.
Is this the guy calling Trump, maybe? He's a multi-billionaire.
So what's crazy to me is I looked at this town, Venice. There are places where it could be very difficult, especially for people in very poor communities, especially in poor communities where a lot of people don't have cars, which do exist in Illinois. Trust me, the thing exists. There can be places where it can be tough to find groceries close by in your area. But there's this town Venice, which has 1,500 people. I looked because I was like, well, what's a probably cheaper program than paying $2.4 million to open up? Oh, I know. What if they just ordered their groceries on Walmart's app in order for delivery? Can they get delivery? Oh, yeah, because there's a Walmart only 4 miles away from this town. This town is right outside of St. Louis on the Illinois side. Yeah. And then there's more towns right around them that have Walmart less than 5 miles away from this town. Now, when we grew up in Illinois, this is a 25-minute drive to a Walmart.
At least
a 25-minute drive.
Yeah.
Okay. And so even if you had to pay for a Walmart membership for the 1,500 people that are in this town, what does that come out to? Someone crunch some math on that for me. 1,500 people for what's Walmart charge?
$15 a month.
You don't even have to have the membership. Like you can order stuff on there.
Well, for free delivery, I think you need the membership.
Okay, well, what if you just subsidize the delivery then for them when they need to do it? Maybe you get the membership for them, their yearly thing.
So it'd be 20,000.
I've gotten bad at math in my later years, so let me just do a number crunch on that.
Yeah, 20,000 a month, I think. Close to.
No, it's for the year, right? Walmart's
$15 a month.
Oh,
is what
15
it is.
a month. Okay.
$100 a year.
Okay.
So it'd be $150,000.
At 1,500 people for all of them to be able to do that.
So then you could give them memberships for 20, almost 30 years.
Huh. Sounds like a better deal.
For the same $2.4 million.
Or the ones that have vehicles could drive the 4.8 miles to the Walmart to get their food.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe not everyone needs that membership. Maybe then it's just people
also,
without cars.
I guarantee
that need it.
This municipally owned grocery store is going to be more expensive. Their prices are going to be more expensive.
No, the prices will appear to be cheaper than other places, or at least equal to what you would get at another store. But you're paying for the extra price that you don't see through taxes in Illinois. So one thing Illinois could do is stop overtaxing its citizens, stop raising the minimum wage to levels that cause some of these smaller locations to shut down. Hey, my family used to own a small grocery store in a place that probably qualifies as a food desert in Illinois. Okay? But they have raised their minimum wage so high that if you operate in a small town, especially in a depressed area, impoverished area, you can't afford to keep it going and pay people whatever Illinois' minimum wage is. You just can't do it. So maybe they should stop making it harder for people to have businesses in Illinois. That'd be a good thing for them to do. But instead, they're going to make it harder. Then they're going to tax people. And then they're going to use that to open up a failure of a grocery store that's going to be god-awful. It's going to look great in the first. It's going to be like that North Korean grocery store, you know.
With the fat kid out front.
With the fat kid out front. It's going to look great, for sure.
He's got an apple.
All right, that's Dumb Bleep number 12. Told you this is going to be faster. We're rolling through this stuff now. Number 13, I just want to make fun of a couple memes. These got posted in the group as well. Most of these submissions came from the Fed Haters Club. This is the meme. If you're listening on the podcast app, on the top section, it says how they say capitalism works. On the left side, it says my lemonade is better. The person on the right says, no, I will make mine better. And they're competing with one another. And they say how capitalism actually works. The left one says, I diluted mine to profit more. And the one on the right says, I used piss. And that's how capitalism actually works to these people.
Yeah.
And if you actually have free market capitalism, what would happen is those two guys would say that, and then there'd be a third guy, one from the top section here, who would come down and said, no, I've got lemonade here for people to have, and it's going to be fine. But we find ways to somehow make it harder for those people to enter into that market, and that's not capitalism. That's whatever you want to call it. Cronyism, mixed economy, fascism. Yeah. There's different stuff like that.
Yeah.
Those kind of things. So yeah, that's not what capitalism is. Easy to make fun of right there. And then this meme, we've got the two buttons, the choice between the two buttons. I don't know what this is from, but it's a very popular meme. On the left side, you have a choice. 100% chance of getting your basic needs met. You hit that button, it's a hammer and sickle, commie thing. You choose communism if you want a 100% chance of getting your basic needs met. On the right side, it's a $sign button that says 0.00001% chance of getting rich. And you can choose that. And at the bottom, it's, of course, Americans choosing to hit the button thing. So I guess the easiest thing to make fun of here would be 100% chance of getting your basic needs met.
As long as you're alive.
Yeah. Yeah. And also, we decide what a basic need is.
Yes.
There's no example of that ever happening anywhere.
No.
No one that has ever subscribed to that symbol right there, hammer and sickle. It just doesn't happen.
In fact, you could probably reverse it.
Yeah.
You can reverse those buttons.
Yeah.
Capitalism is actually, you have a better chance of getting your basic needs met.
That's not 100%.
And then socialism is 0.0001%. It's people at the top. They're the rich ones.
Yeah. Those are the ones that get rich. Yeah.
Stalin, rich, you know.
People who work at the, not even just in the government, but the very high levels of government, you know.
Yeah. They're the ones getting lobster. Steak.
And
look at Chavez's daughter, you know, billionaire.
Oh, yeah.
Roaming around.
It's for the people.
People in Venezuela starving.
Yeah. Well, they'd be doing great if it wasn't for the sanctions and stuff. So,
yeah.
It's great. Yeah, I don't see how people still believe this or post this. It still gets tons of reposts, millions of views, and people still go along with this. We've done a terrible job, I guess, folks. We got to do a better job destroying
Truth is,
communism.
people are dumb.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
This is Dumb Bleep of the
We
Week.
should make a whole episode about it.
Yeah.
All right, that's number 13. Okay, a more serious one. Stupid thing from a state. Dumb Bleep number 14 here. This is from the governor of Montana, Greg Gianforte? Gianforte?
I don't know.
Gianforte?
Hmm.
So-called, says Greg. Oh, Greg. So-called lab-grown meat has no place in Montana. By signing HB 401 into law, I'm proud to defend our way of life and the hardworking Montana ranchers who produce the best beef in the world. First thing, I don't know why you call it so-called lab-grown meat. I mean, it is, in fact, lab-grown meat, so I don't know what the so-called part of that is. So Montana has passed this bill to ban lab-grown meat, not just to ban the manufacture of it, to ban the sale of it, for restaurants to sell it, for grocery stores to sell it. I don't know if they're going to search you, see if you're in possession of lab-grown meat or anything like that. I don't know if they have a stop and frisk rule.
Yeah.
Hey, so you got a cooler right there. What do you got in that cooler?
What's in that cooler?
Is that meat lab-grown or what's going on? So Governor Gregg recently signed into law a bill to ban the manufacturing and sale of lab-grown meat in Montana. Quote, if you've ever had the pleasure of enjoying a cut of Montana beef, you know there is no substitute. Well, you shouldn't be worried then. Honestly. Oh, he means it literally now. Yeah. Why don't you ban meat from all the other places in the United States too? Just to further protect your Montana ranchers. Mm-hmm. I would do that. By signing House Bill 401 into law, I'm proud to defend our way of life and the hardworking Montana ranchers who produce the best beef in the world. Prove it. Sponsored by Representative Braxton Mitchell, Republican. It prohibits the manufacture, for sale, the sale, or distribution of cell-cultured edible product. The bill defines cell-cultured, that's a hard one, cell-cultured edible product as the concept of meat, including but not limited to muscle cells, fat cells, connective tissue, blood, and other components produced via cell culture, rather than from a whole slaughtered animal. Starting October 1st, any retail food establishment in Montana that manufactures, sells, or distributes cell-cultured edible product is subject to the suspension of their license and could be found guilty of a misdemeanor and faced with fines and imprisonment if convicted.
So that means like the Beyond Meat and those types of things can't even
No,
be sold
those are
in
like,
grocery stores?
I don't know if those are lab-grown meat. They're talking about this newfangled contraption of taking actual cells from animals and growing what is probably still like vegetarians and stuff would not eat because it's lab-grown meat.
Gotcha.
Yeah. That kind of thing.
While they're at it, they might as well ban lab-grown diamonds.
It's just, anything.
For the women of Montana.
So one of the, this is a ridiculous overreach, especially from a Republican state government who I would assume says things like they believe in free market capitalism every now and then. One of the craziest things about this too is in none of this is approved by the FDA, if that matters to you, these meats. In none of this have they mentioned that this meat is dangerous or unhealthy for you. It's not good for you, nothing like that.
I would probably make that claim.
Yeah, it's possible.
I would say, I would be cautious of eating lab-grown meat, but we shouldn't ban it.
Yeah, I don't care. Look at all the other stuff in the grocery store that's bad for you.
Yeah,
you know.
I mean,
but they're not even making that claim.
Yeah,
they're banning it to protect
what are
their
Pop-Tarts?
own ranchers.
Are those lab-grown?
But they're not making the claim. Yeah. They're not making the claim that it's dangerous for you at all. They're just saying that this is how we're going to protect our Montana ranchers. And I say that is completely ridiculous. Completely ridiculous. Yeah. And not even because, people are doing this because of climate change and cow farts. And then also the idea that these big factory farm producers, meat producers, slaughterhouses, stuff like that are mistreating animals, factory farms mistreating animals. And I'm sympathetic to that argument. I'm not going to switch over to lab-grown meat.
Yeah.
But I'm sympathetic enough that I buy the $9 carton of eggs, the Sunny, whatever, I don't know what it is, the pasture-raised eggs,
Must be nice.
I buy the fancy bacon. It's got a different looking label, and it says it's ethically sourced and no whatever, and it's pasture-raised stuff and all that, not from a factory farm.
Yeah.
And then all the other stuff I get from my dad, who has cows and
non-factory,
pigs. My brother,
yeah,
not factory. They're in the pasture.
Yeah.
And so I'm sympathetic to that argument that if you think that stuff is wrong, there could be an alternative and still have meat. Or you could go to people who do what I'm talking about right now. Those things do exist. None of that matters.
By the way, you should drive around. I see several places. It's, $5 a dozen for just local eggs.
Local eggs, yeah. I know.
You should do that.
Yeah. But FDA hasn't looked into their USDA hasn't gone to their farm, I bet.
Yeah.
So, it's not safe.
Yeah, couldn't be safe. Yeah, there's no way.
I could end up catching bird flu.
Yeah, of course.
I don't want to do that. None of this matters. Why the heck would a government be banning its own people from buying something that they want? Not only that, why would it threaten them with imprisonment if they buy or sell, if they trade in this lab-grown product? This is absolutely ridiculous. This is retarded is what it is. And we haven't said retarded today. Do you disagree?
No, I don't disagree.
Okay.
It says agriculture is our state's #1 industry, and this bill takes a clear stand to protect our ranchers and our food supply, driving the cost up, by the way.
It's by taking away competition.
They should compete. If Montana, natural beef is best, which it probably is.
He said that there is no substitute. He said that.
Well, he's guaranteeing now
there's
no substitute.
There is no substitute, asterisk, because we're going to
guarantee
ban all the substitutes.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, why not ban any beef that's not from Montana? To protect your Montana farmers.
Mm-hmm.
I think they should do that. Just go a little step further. Anyhow, that's stupid. That's number 14. Number 15, Nina Turner. Nina. Now, this is cool. This is a white pill right here, down here, that she's commenting on. Uber. Heard of them? Is going to be introducing fixed route shuttles in major U.S. cities that are designed for commuters. Yes, they are going to have fixed routes and shuttles that you can book days in advance or that you can get on just beforehand, that are going to have designated stopping areas, stuff like that. Also known as public transportation, essentially. That they're going to be rolling out this pilot program in many big cities. The only difference is people are going to have to pay for it. They're going to have to pay for their use of the service. Now, I know I got corrected, not really corrected, but when I posted about on her page, I said she can't stand the idea of people paying for their own stuff. And they're like, you've never been on the bus because you pay when you get on the bus. I'm like, yeah, you pay a heavily subsidized price when you get on the bus. It's not the actual cost that it costs to operate that bus that you're paying for. Anyhow, I thought that was a pretty cool idea from Uber. And that maybe it'll work. Maybe the free market, maybe private companies are going to find a way to have bus routes and stuff so we don't have to waste all this money on public transportation.
So we don't need the tax dollars.
So you don't got to tax people for it. How about that? I bet you it'd even be nicer.
Yeah. Well, Nina
maybe more
Turner's
dependable.
upset about this.
She's mad. She says these are called buses and they should not be private.
They just shouldn't.
Just should. They should not. For why? For what reason?
Well, clearly they're going to alienate black people off of these buses.
And which is crazy because it's the opposite.
Yeah.
Actually, it was the private bus companies that would allow the black people, and that's why they had to make laws.
Yeah.
Okay. So, we don't have to get into that whole thing, but why should they not be private? Except for you just have this idea that this should be provided publicly by taxpayers. The only thing you're against is people paying for their own use of a product or service. You just can't stand that idea.
Tell you what, I've been to Europe. You're going to Europe soon, and they take a lot of trains there.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, you pay for the train.
Yeah, I saw prices.
The train tickets.
They're not insanely cheap.
They're not super cheap.
No.
No.
And
in fact, sometimes a flight is cheaper.
Yeah, and I saw it was going to take me, to get like 10 miles away from the airport. It's going to take like 3.5 hours for that to happen, and it was going to cost a decent amount of money for that to happen. So I'm just going to take Uber instead because I care more about time, and I'll pay, I guess, a little bit more for the Uber to do that.
Maybe. It might be cheaper.
We'll see.
Depends.
Yeah, it might end up being cheaper. So she's upset about that. This is something that it's just going to be tough to get around. This should not be private. Not only are we saying, a lot of times with public stuff, they would make the argument, well, the government has to step in when the free market fails, a market failure happens, and so the public has to step in and provide this. But then when the market says we're going to step in and provide this, if you still have this ideological block against the market itself providing this thing, then there's something else going on.
Mm-hmm.
You're just a socialist is what it is, and you can't stand the idea that other people aren't going to be forced to pay for something that they're not using. Okay, number 16. We're going to try and make this as fast as possible. So fast.
Number 16.
There's a controversy that got stirred up this week, and it involves a news station saying that Minneapolis and state leaders prepare for possible Derek Chauvin pardon. Now, that is probably a little bit misleading headline because Trump couldn't pardon state crimes, and he got state and federal, as from what I remember. Anyway, I don't know how much that would change a sentence or whatever the case may be, but they can't pardon state crimes, and so they're still going to have to prepare because all their cities are going to magically catch on fire.
Magically.
Right afterwards.
Yeah.
So
and they've already burned down the police department once in Minneapolis. They can't have another one.
Marjorie Taylor Greene says, I strongly support Derek Chauvin being pardoned and released from prison. George Floyd died of a drug overdose. So we'll get to that.
So now we've stirred up the controversy.
So now we're going. Okay. Ilhan Omar says, absolutely vile. Derek Chauvin murdered George Floyd in a modern day lynching. It was chilling and intentional. He was found guilty of unintentional homicide, by the way.
Yeah.
Also, hate to break it to you, Marjorie, but regardless of any potential pardon, Chauvin will remain in jail for his state conviction. He will forever be a convicted murderer in the eyes of the law and the world. So this is absolutely vile to say this kind of thing. Brian Allen, who has a lot of reposts on this, so we'll bring it up, says, if Derek Chauvin gets a federal pardon, it's not just injustice, it's a full-blown declaration that black lives don't matter in this country. And if that happens, don't ask why people are in the streets. Ask why the system keeps spitting on their graves and calling it law and order. All right. If this happens, it's going to be a sticky situation. Let me tell you what.
It's going to get heated.
It's going to get, yeah. Just oddly enough, Trump's president again, cities are burning down, stuff like that. This Derek Chauvin thing,
it's Trump's fault.
The Derek Chauvin, George Floyd thing is almost a conversation. It's like a step below saying that Hitler wasn't the worst person in World War II or something like that.
Yeah.
It's not quite at that level. It's not quite like writing a song called Heil Hitler, or it's not questioning whether or not we should have been involved in World War II or whether or not they were off ramps that could have steered it in a different direction. But it's close to that.
Well,
it's close to like this folklore, this story that you have to adhere to, where you're going to end up getting like just destroyed
Thanks,
publicly.
Nate. Now we definitely can't upload to YouTube.
Yeah.
You just talked about somebody writing a song called Heil Hitler.
Yeah.
Now,
I just said someone wrote a song about that.
well, it's not going to matter. They're going to flag
That'll be
it.
fine now. That'll be fine. You
Okay.
can talk about that.
All right.
You can say that.
Fine.
I've watched plenty of YouTube videos, people talking about it. So, plus I've watched the song like 100 times, and they're still letting us. No, there's a case to be made that Chauvin didn't get a fair trial, and that he actually got railroaded, and that he should be pardoned. There's actually a good case to be made, and if you're not afraid of saying that out loud, I think when you look at some of the evidence and some of the story behind it, you would be like, yeah. A Daily Wire did, I think, a 5-part series on why Derek Chauvin should be pardoned. And I listened to a little bit of it, and just the stuff that I heard, I was like, I didn't know about these things. You know, that like something, and whether or not there was a fair trial. You know, the city of Minneapolis, how wild is it to me that, or to you guys, that the city of Minneapolis paid out a settlement to the Floyd family before the trial even happened? Like, they admitted that their police officer did something wrong and paid out a settlement to the family before the trial even happened. And so there's that kind of stuff. And there's the jury being threatened. There's them knowing that the cities are going to burn if they don't. And then there's stuff with the autopsy that I did want to read here. It's pretty crazy.
And I think at the time, so I want to be honest here, I think at the time when this was happening, we were talking about police violence and reducing police violence, reducing interactions, obviously the drug war and things like that. Because really, I mean, you know, George Floyd shouldn't have died, you know, at the hands of a police officer if that interaction wouldn't have happened, so to speak. And I think
that was over passing a counterfeit bill.
Yeah.
That's what that was.
You know, there has to be some accountability. You know, I don't think necessarily that Chauvin is a murderer, but I do think that, you know, sitting on someone's neck for an extended period of time probably isn't the best practice.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, the guy was clearly already detained. He wasn't going to go anywhere.
So sometime we'll spend some more time on this, but I need to watch the video, the actual video again sometime to find that. But like as Ben Shapiro put it, the knee was on his back for more time than it was ever on his neck. We see the picture of the knee on his neck, but not so much that consistently in the video the whole time.
My thing is, I don't understand, like, once they're handcuffed and like incapacitated,
yeah,
what's the point?
Because that was an actual official procedure that police department taught.
No.
Yeah. And so there's another part.
There's
right there.
And so now he's in prison because he followed procedure.
So there's let me read a little bit of this and then we'll get voting and get out of here. This is the last one. Daily Wire editor Emeritus Ben Shapiro revealed how the politically connected former chief medical examiner, and by the way, I think this is good reasoning to have a new trial, like someone said in the group. Doesn't exactly have to be a pardon, but I think it at least warrants a new trial. Revealed how politically connected former chief medical examiner of Washington, D.C. dramatically influenced the Hennepin County medical examiner to add neck compression to George Floyd's autopsy report, despite initial findings that showed no physical evidence suggesting that Mr. Floyd died of asphyxiation. That was the initial autopsy from the same guy. The facts are straightforward. Baker's initial autopsy was conducted on May 26, 2020, and his subsequent draft autopsy report found no physical evidence suggesting that Mr. Floyd died of asphyxiation and no medical indications of asphyxia or strangulation. Then Roger Mitchell enters the picture. Mitchell, a Democrat activist who also served as D.C. deputy mayor, called Baker twice following the initial autopsy findings, according to documents filed in a separate case. A former Minneapolis police officer and Chauvin's colleague. It's a different case. During these calls, Mitchell allegedly told Baker, so that's what he calls a Democrat activist talking to the ME. You don't want to be the medical examiner who tells everyone they didn't see what they saw. You don't want to be the smartest person in the room and be wrong. The pressure campaign intensified when Mitchell threatened to publish an op-ed in the Washington Post critical of Baker's findings. Quote, Mitchell said there was a way to articulate the cause and manner of death that ensures you're telling the truth about what you're observing on the body and via all of the investigation. Mitchell said neck compression has to be in the diagnosis, the memorandum states. By June 1st, 2020, Baker added neck compression to his official diagnosis, transforming the case against the officers. The reason they know about this happening, by the way, is because of a separate suit involving a sexual harassment claim. And these findings, what this medical examiner said while this was going on, actually came out in a deposition for a separate sexual harassment lawsuit. And so that's something that a lot of people just don't know about. So it's little stuff like that. Like, was there pressure from outside actors to change the actual autopsy report? It seems like maybe there was. Seems like that could be the case. I just think a new trial might be warranted. That's all I'm saying.
Possible, yeah.
I don't know what the procedure is for doing that.
I would caution this just a little bit because as I'm reading this, this came out in former prosecutors Amy Sweecy's sexual harassment lawsuit deposition. Technically, that's hearsay unless we have like physical evidence.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't Dr. Baker actually saying this. It's someone else saying that Dr. Baker said this.
But if she were to testify in a different trial concerning Dr. Baker, it wouldn't be hearsay because he said it directly to her, right? My God, that's crazy.
That's
I don't know if you guys, it probably didn't come through on the recording, but someone just drove by on a ghetto sled, and it was pretty crazy. Yeah. Anyhow, but it wouldn't be considered hearsay if it was a trial and it was concerning the doctor because he said it directly to her, right? Like if she was brought up as a witness, the trial would have to be concerning the autopsy report or something, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
A deposition involving the autopsy report.
Yes.
I guess that kind of thing.
Yes.
But if it were a trial involving Chauvin, then probably she can't get up there and say that the medical examiner told her that.
Exactly.
Okay. So this could be brought up in a case for a new trial, but not in the actual new trial.
Potentially. Yes.
I think that's how that would work.
I just want people to caution themselves when they read this and be like, oh yeah, he said it. Well, not technically. He hasn't said that yet.
It is from another person
Yes.
and it's from a woman. So take that from, take that as far as you can. I mean, I believe all women. I'm with you.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm with all of you. Mm-hmm. I'm with the ladies. It's going to be a mess, but
prepare yourselves for another summer of 2025.
But there's actually like a long list of problems with this trial, and I think thinking that it was just plain as day.
Where is he going to get a fair trial? Even if they do retry this, where? Canada?
Mm-hmm. I was going to say it's different country.
Yeah.
Somewhere mostly white.
South Africa.
Canada sounds South Africa. Yeah. No, that's only 7% white. So I don't know. All right, y'all, we got to get out of here. That was a
lot of dumbs.
Heck of an episode right there.
I got to tell you what, I have to pee now.
You have to pee. That's how long the episode was.
Yeah.
So let's run back through all that crazy mess we just talked about. And the way we're going to do this, how are we going to do this? Because I did want to make it two separate sections. Maybe we'll tournament them or we'll treat them as two separate winners. That's what we'll do. This is two separate episodes.
Okay.
Two separate winners making up for next week's lack of dumb bleep of the week.
All right.
That's what we can do. Okay, these are two separate episodes. Number 1, Medicaid freakout. Number 2, Biden revelations. Number 3, the Qatari plane. Number 4, South Africa. Number 5, the Matt Walsh swastika thing. Number 6, Mark Levin. Number 7, 8647. That is dumb bleep number 1, or episode number 1. Okay, so vote on that separately. Then for number 2, we got the Pfizer thing. That's crazy. How did I not see that too? That they're like, oh yeah, we slow rolled the release of this vaccine because of the election. I mean, that's pretty wild, right? I don't know what the legal recourse is on that kind of stuff, but definitely a strongly worded letter or something like that. Number 9, Habeas Corpus, Lincoln Project on top of that. Number 10, the Texas House Mariachi Band. Number 11, that lefty saying somebody else should give up their spot at the school. Number 12, the Illinois food deserts. Number 12, the capitalism memes. Number 14, Montana meats. Number 15, Nina Turner. And number 16, if you question the conviction of Derek Chauvin, you're just a vile racist, and we're going to burn the city down.
This happened quick. So,
that actually, I didn't expect that one to.
That was a lot.
That was crazy. How
So
about
for
that?
episode 1, Biden Revelations taking the top spot, and for episode number 2, the Texas House Mariachi Band.
How about that?
What seems to be pretty dumb, and it's not part of official decorum, I guess.
Yeah,
and that's why people are upset about it. So, all right, y'all. Well, if you enjoyed these 2 episodes, then please share both of them with a friend, a family member, and the children. Leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Go to godhatesfeds.com or joingml.com. Be part of the Fed Haters Club, where you could have got both episodes in one.
You see, like, it's
over
crazy
2 hours.
It's crazy that you have to pee right now.
Worth of content.
Is it bad?
I gotta go.
You got to go pretty
I
bad.
do gotta go. Yeah,
That's wild.
but it's fine. I can hold it.
Yeah.
It's not. There's not a.
It's
a
like
ton
how
of pressure.
It's like I'm normally doing this, and I'm
Yeah.
about to pee my pants,
I'm
and
fine.
like, that's how I feel for about half of every
Yeah.
episode that we do.
I also have a call coming up in 15 minutes.
Oh
and
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
hungry.
You're gonna have time to pee.
I need another drink. Gotta go pee.
Yeah.
and
I
also
got to
need-
pee too right now,
I
though.
also
So
need
what
to
are we gonna do
prepare.
about that?
I need to prepare for this call
Yeah.
coming up too. I've got a spreadsheet and stuff.
I thought I would take the job of
Yeah.
delaying the end
but
of the episode.
Anyway.
you know.
I was saying you could be part of the Fed Haters Club, and that way you could have gotten this entire episode all in one.
Mhm.
You didn't have to wait for the separate
2
parts.
episodes at the same time. That's what you do for $7 a month, man.
Exactly.
Let me tell you what.
Visit the links in the show notes to support the sponsors that support this show. And if you do all of that, then we will be back again on Monday for a couple episodes next week.
Mm-hmm.
Until then, I hope you have a good day and a good morning, Liberty.